I believe that it's easier to go from hysterical laughter to passionate tears than it is to go from some kind of a neutral baseline to either one of those emotions. This is something that I call a dynamic shift of tone. Whether there's a technical definition for this or not, I don't know. But I imagine it like this. There's a bubble, and on either side of that bubble, there are different emotions that you could go towards. So on one side, you might be very affected emotionally. You might be in tears. On the other side, you might be bowled over laughing. You might be disgusted down here. You might be curious over here. There's a whole different range of emotions that you could feel. The general premise is that if you're in any one of those emotions, getting to one of the other emotions is much easier than if you're in the middle of that bubble and having to start from ground zero. So what's the film application for this? Again, the last video I kind of talked about immersion. So if we can create immersion, if we can get somebody to go to one of those emotions somewhere outside of that circle, they're now bought in and they can go to any one of those other emotions as we see fit, as the storyteller sees fit. Not just as the day dictates or the timeline dictates, but as the storyteller sees fit. So there's two examples from cinema that demonstrate this idea from two different angles. And the first is us watching it happen to the characters on screen. In this classic scene from Jaws, all three are drunk and having fun, bragging about their battle scars. Then Brody asks about a scar, and Quint tells him that it's from the USS Indianapolis, the infamous real-life story of a ship that delivered the atomic bomb and was later sunk, leaving hundreds to be eaten by sharks while awaiting rescue.
What is that?
So hope that's the USS Indianapolis.
So the fact that we're sort of laughing along with them and we're not at all prepared for what's about to happen. And then here comes one of the greatest monologues, I think, in cinematic history. As we're watching this, like we're just sort of observing and we're laughing and we can see that the characters on screen are laughing as well. If we started from a neutral baseline and went straight into talking about this horrific example of these people being eaten by sharks, that doesn't have the same effect as if when you're caught off guard, right? We're caught off guard, we're laughing, there's a lighthearted mood to this, and then all of a sudden, wham, we're just, wow, you took me by surprise, and it hits harder. It hits doubly as hard, I think. The second example is the same thing, only it's happening to us, the viewer, and we've probably all seen the movie Up. And we know that this film is super powerful, and the opening montage is again, one of the greatest cinematic examples of montage that I'm aware of. The montage takes us on a literal journey, one filled with wonder, love, and joy, and then absolute sadness. The bottom falls out. You feel it. You feel it doubly because you didn't start from a neutral baseline. You'd already been on the emotional journey, and then we're abruptly given this terrible jolt of bad news. So then what are the applications for wedding films? One of the ways that I like to use this idea is in shifting entire segments. Maybe the music is upbeat, maybe it's very lighthearted, and I want to completely shift gears into, say, the more emotional, sentimental part of a film. This is a way to do that. Another way that I see using this is sort of like a gentle oscillation. I'm trying to make sure that we stay outside of this bubble. We're staying emotionally involved and we're not sitting on any one emotion for too long because that can become beleaguered and the audience gets fatigued. As we know, audiences don't have a long attention span. So the example I want to use for the first application, for actually moving from one section to another in the film, is from a wedding film I did recently, Jody and Will, and this is one of my favorite edits, this individual moment in the film. It's not flashy, there's no transitions, there's nothing like that that'd be like, wow. What I love about this is that we've gone from a really lighthearted moment where people are joking, like literally there's a shot of guys taking a leak on the golf course, and then we move into the dad is giving a welcome speech. It's like, I don't usually use a piece of dialogue for that long. It almost starts to drone on, and then I could sense myself tuning out, and then all of a sudden, all right, we're back. Memory card is formatted, sorry about that. I could sense myself sort of checking out, and then all of a sudden he says this thing about, we're here with our best friends, and the music dies down, and the crowd ambient noise dies down.
But what makes them truly more awesome is if you get the opportunity to share that moment with your best friends. And you guys are our best friends. And we're thrilled to have you here tonight. We're so glad you're sharing this moment with us.
And there's this shot of Jody and Will that did not happen at this moment in real life. I felt like this visual communicated. It's like when you're in the back of the classroom and you're not paying attention, you've been chatting with your classmate and the teacher calls on you and it's, oh shoot. That feeling, that's what I wanted to feel with this, and I think it captured it really well. So this is one of my favorite edits, and it's super understated. The second application is just keeping interest. It's that sort of oscillation, going between different emotions and making sure that we don't sort of camp on any one feeling for too long that it becomes overdone or saturated. I think one of the best at doing this, and certainly who I learned it from in the wedding context, was Sharon from Fiore Films. Sharon's visuals are so moody and incredible, and the stuff that she does, I still don't fully understand. You might miss the fact that underneath all of that, of just oozing style, she's actually, I think, a very accomplished editor emotionally. She doesn't sit on any one thing. She's not worried about chronology. She's taking different moments throughout the day to tell the story that she wants to tell. She's got humor juxtaposed with dramatic music.
What did you order?
A strawberry daiquiri.
There's a human connection that I think we feel with these people. It's easy to see something this stylized and not connect with the humanity of it, but she threads that needle, and I think is one of the best, keeping interest by sort of like oscillating between different emotions. And so you have these humorous moments and you have these very dramatic, very emotional moments, and then you have these other aspects of interest because this aesthetic is so good. If you've made it this far and you've been interested in this video, send it to somebody else, share it. That would be a huge help to me. I'm not really sure what the end game is for this video or this series of videos. I do think that this is something that is not really on the table in the wedding film world. There's plenty of people that talk about how to use cool transitions and double exposures and do this and that or whatever. That's really not the goal of, but I actually don't think I do it very well, so it's not something that I feel like I'm gonna talk about. But I do wanna bring sort of these film analysis component to the wedding film world. So if you enjoyed this, shoot me a message. If you have thoughts, shoot me a message. If you have things that you'd want covered, shoot me a message. Send it to somebody else. See you next time.